Hey everyone, I'm glad you're joining us for this session on the relationship between guitars and keys with the rest of the band. In the modern worship genre that we largely live in, guitars and keys occupy a vital role in the sonic fingerprint of the songs that we play. Pretty much all auxiliary sounds, or ear candy as I like to call them, hooks and melodies all come from these two instruments. Not to mention one of the most important elements, transitions, are carried almost solely by the keys. While drums and guitars definitely carry weight in transitions, nothing has the capability to cover the sonic space and crossfading power of different sounds like the keyboard. Guitars and keys cover a lot of musical ground and carry a lot of musical weight. However, many of the sounds that come from the guitars and keys are more layers that aren't meant to be featured and out front, but more foundational to the energy and vibe of the song. For example, some songs have a really big, wide sounding warm pad underneath the piano sounds, not to mention multiple other auxiliary synth and keys sounds playing different parts during different sections. It would be a mistake to push that pad up so loud that you can hear all of the timbre complexities and sonic characteristics of that specific sound in the context of the mix. However, you would seriously miss it if that sonic space wasn't occupied by that pad. My point is that there are hooks and ear candy melodies that are really flashy and out front and important, but also parts that are less noticeable to the ear, but equally as important to the overall song vibe. Rhythm guitar would fall into that category. So important to the vibe and dynamic sound to some of the songs we play, but not necessarily a featured part. I even hesitate to use the term rhythm guitar as an example because much of the modern worship music we play doesn't really have one guitar doing lead parts and one guitar doing rhythm parts, or a low part and a high part. Most of the time there are really important sounds and parts that both guitars, assuming that there are only two, have to cover, and often both parts play off of each other, almost like they create one single part or melody line. So most of the time we end up labeling the guitar as EG1 and EG2, and one isn't more important than two, but in order to help clarify what part needs to be played by who, we had to give them a label. It's really important to understand where guitars and keys live in the overall frequency spectrum. There's only so much sonic space that can be occupied by a band. Much of the low end is covered by the drums and the bass, and some high end stuff covered by cymbals and aux keys and guitar stuff, but the majority of the mid-range of a mix is covered by guitars, keys, and vocals. In light of so much content existing in the same general area on the frequency spectrum, it's really important that the guitar and keys parts be intentionally written, played, and mixed to make space for the other elements that may exist, like the vocals. So understanding the value that the guitars and keys play in a song and in a mix will help each of us, regardless of what role or instrument we are playing, know how our part contributes and helps the overall sound, but also helps inform our choices of what to do and what not to do because we understand the role of the other players. So whether you play guitar or keys or not, knowing how they fit in will only help you contribute to the success and excellence of the team you're serving alongside of and the song that you're playing.